everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm Jamie B. Thanks for stopping by. So in today's video, I am going to be showing you guys how I use the ABH Dipbrow and how I make my brows look more natural using this product. So if you want to see how I get natural looking brows using ABH Dipbrow, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button at the bottom of this video and we will get right into it. Alright guys, so before we get into it, I do want to say, I know that I look strange. My hair is wet. I'm having it dry, but I wanted to get on here before I did my makeup and show you guys how I do my brows with the Dipbrow. So with this Dipbrow pomade, we actually as a beauty community and consumers do not use this properly or the way that it was intended. It was actually just intended to kind of fill fake hairs through your brow and not completely line them and completely fill it in. So if you are using this solely to completely fill your brows, which I have done, they're not going to look as natural as something like a pencil or powder or brow gel would. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to show you how as natural as I can get them, but with this, because it's such a thick formula, it's a pomade, it's going to look like I did put on my brows. So I'm gonna focus mainly on how to get this front part looking a little bit more natural and a little bit more smooth. I have been doing my brows a little bit differently lately just because I'm trying to do like a more natural fluffy brow, less drawn on kind of brow. But I did get asked when I put on Instagram for tips and tricks you guys want to see, someone did ask me how to make the brow look a little bit more natural with the pomade in the front. Okay, and me saying like we're using it wrong isn't me telling you you can't do something. I just want to clarify that you can do whatever you want with whatever you want. I'm just letting you know like the proper way that I guess it was supposed to be used, but again, I used it the wrong way too. So first things first is you want to make sure your brows are cleaned up. For the most part, I do not get my brows waxed anymore. I just kind of pluck them and keep them upkept. And if I have any hairs, like if I haven't done my brows in a little bit, like little baby hairs down here, I'll just conceal that with concealer. So I'm gonna bring in my mirror close and I use the shade Ebony. I also use the ABH number 12 double-ended brush for my brows. I like how thin it is. I've tried many brow brushes and I just don't like the feel of it. This one is sharp, it's stiff, but not too stiff, it moves, and it's not too fat. I can't do the fat ones because I need to have clean strokes. So first things first is I will brush my brows exactly how I want them to lay, see? And then I will start right here in the middle. I don't start from the front of your brow. Don't do that. Start from like the middle and just follow your natural line, or you can follow whatever line you want to create. Now when I'm doing my brows, I do not go down. I try to keep them as elevated as I can to my natural brow, because if you do the tail end down, you're going to make your brows look like they're drooping, which is going to then make your eyes look like they're drooping. Then I will come to the top at almost the exact same point. Sometimes I go back a little bit further just so it doesn't look too like symmetrical, like the lines aren't like this to each other, it's kind of like this, so I can fade it out. And I haven't dipped into another product, so don't do that. I use what I have left because you don't want the top to be as dark as the bottom. And then I just connect it like that. Another thing that I do is if I have too much product on the brush, I will literally just go in sideways and dip it on the lid and then dip back in there if I need to. That way I'm not wasting product. So now that I have the shape I want, I'm just going in to basically just make sure it's exactly how I want it to, and then I wipe my brush off. I wipe it off. I know that sounds weird, but I do. And then I'll come down here where it's really thick and I'll start to flick up from the baseline. And the reason that I do this is because one, it's going to smooth out that bottom line, and then I'll flick down from the top and it smooths those lines out so it looks a little bit more natural and less precisely drawn on. And then I just fill this in with whatever is left on my brush and from the bottom line and the top line. And then I will pull it forward just a smidge. So with like the tip of the brush, see, I just went forward with both of them without drawing a line. I just pulled it forward. Now with still nothing on my brush, I'm gonna go in and draw just a very, very faint line over and over and over, following that line. So now I have it on the bottom. I don't do a line on the top because I do flicky motions to do it that way. Okay, and I'm gonna show you what else I use, which is a must for this, because instead of caking a crap ton of pomade to make sure that it's filled in 100%, I use a powder, and I'll show you how I do that. That also will give it a more natural feel and look. because if you try to go too heavy with the pomade, I think that's a lot of people's problem, is they go way too heavy with the pomade and it looks really, really fake. It looks really drawn on. Now, if that's your thing, that's what you want to do, then go ahead. But if you're looking for more natural with this product, then I would definitely recommend a powder to fill in. So you're just lightly filling in with the pomade. So then right at the base here, before I get to the front, I just start to flicker up my hair direction. So I don't add any more to the top line. Like where I had it and blending it out a little bit, that's it. That is all I do to that top line. I don't mess with it. I leave that alone because that's gonna be the one you want to look the softest, the most natural. Your bottom can be pretty sharp and people won't be able to really tell that it's like super drawn on just because you have your shadow there, so it kind of like looks like you just cleaned it out real nice. However, you want your top to look as soft and subtle as possible. And now I do my brows before my foundation. I know some people don't like that, so that's really your choice. I just find that if I mess up my brows and my foundation isn't on, then I can fix it easier than trying to wipe off foundation and now I have to fix my foundation. So I will go in and get like the smallest amount, the smallest, from the tip or from the lid where I wiped it, just literally dabbing in there. If you don't have enough in there, you can go lightly back into that pomade and then just dab it in there to make sure it's not a lot. And you want to make sure your brush is super sharp. If it's not, you can flatten it on your hand. So just make sure you press it on your hand so you have the sharpest brush you can. And we're gonna go right to the front. Start in the middle of the front. Don't go right to the corner. Start at the end here, flickering up until you get to the outside. Just lightly flicker. So this is the hardest part for me. I've had a lot of issues with this part to where sometimes they will look like the flickers will go up way too high, and I'll show you how to fix that. So if I flicker too high, and this is what's good about not having foundation on yet, I can literally just go in and wipe like that, and it just wipes them so they're like down, they're short. Don't make all of your hairs the same size, the fake hairs, because then it just looks like it is drawn on. I definitely do shorter ones towards the front and longer ones towards the middle. And then I also try to get this right here, the corner, to be a little bit softer. So now if you feel like you're like balding here, like you got some sparse, don't worry about it. I'm gonna show you now what to do. So I went ahead and I finished this brow off camera. I just wanna let you guys know, I know that we are told in the videos and by people, your brows have to be symmetrical. They need to look like twins. They need to look like sisters. No. If you want your brows to look as natural as possible, don't make them look identical. If they look identical, then they don't look natural. I just feel like you want them to look less symmetrical. I mean, obviously, don't have like a 2-inch thick brow and like a freaking 90s pencil brow over here. Try to make them look like something together, but they don't have to look identical. They don't have to look like sisters. Just make them look good. They just gotta look like they go together. You want them to be kind of on the same level, but like even this one goes down a little bit than this front one. I just follow the natural curve. It just makes it look so much better. So the next thing that I go in to give it more of a natural feel, instead of caking that pomade, we're done with the pomade. Once you've drawn on and you've lightly filled in your tail and the front of your brow, you want to go in with a powder. I use the ABH Duo powder. You can use whatever powder you would like. You just need to get a powder that's going to fill in your brows. The reason I say this is because you don't want to go into your brows with the pomade too heavy, because then they look like you drew them on. They definitely do. There's no way around that. A powder is going to give it a more natural feel, a more natural look. The pomade is a cream, so it's going to be like, why your eyes looking so creamy? Why do they look so oily? The powder is going to give it more of a natural, dry, matte look as eyebrows would. I also go in with a different ABH brush. This is the 14. It's a thicker, more loose brush, still double-ended because I need it. And the reason I do that is because I don't want it to look so sharp. I go in with the darker color, just a dab will do ya. And then I literally will just go in and fill where it's sparse. First of all, it's gonna give it more layer, so it's gonna fill it it's gonna give it more layer, and then the softness of the powder will literally make it look a little bit more natural on your face. Because the problem is that pomade is gonna start to get oily throughout the day, and people are gonna be like, why are your eyebrows sweating? So I just go from the middle to the back of the tail. And if you ever put too much in and you're like, oh, that's too dark, just take your spoolie and attack. It'll kind of just lift that. It just lifts it. All right, so then I do that. And when I say by layers, by the way, because you're probably like, I'm not an onion. When I say layers, Shrek, I mean it's going to give you a shift in your brow. So your brow is going to be like a dark color with a little bit of light, like your brows normally are. Like, does that make sense? Like a duo, mono. It just makes it look better. Like when you hit the light, you're not like, oh, super black brows, cool. It just gives it layers. So then I will wipe this brush off, and I go into the lighter color. This is why I like duos. Any kind of duo will do. It doesn't have to be the ABH duo, but any duo will do. And I tap that. You want this to have very little on, because you're gonna go right over where you did the flicky flicks and just go in very lightly and powder that up. That's going to give that more of a smooth looking look, like a gradient look. And you can go back in with that dark and just fill up. If you feel like you still have some sparse, just fill it up. This one you can fill like completely shade in, and it's fine because it's powder, so it's going to be fine. I am a big fan of my brows looking, for the most part, similar in color going through. So I do know that some people like get like really light, and then their brows are darker on the end. I don't want to see that big of a shift in my brows. I don't like it. It to me is just not a look that I really go towards. So if that's what you do, then that's fine, and I don't know how they do that, but I just think that they basically put no powder, no nothing. They just draw, and it's pretty like sparse there. But like, if you know what I mean, like it's like, it looks almost like there's nothing there but a line, and then a few lines, and then dark. I don't like that, because to me that just doesn't look as natural as I like to try to go for. So because I don't have my foundation on again, I just want to let you guys know I am able to move it around, swipe it. So what I do is I'm going to go in now and like literally just kind of press and pull at the front, and it's gonna give me more of a faded look. Now you might get some brow products, so just on your areas, so I would just be mindful. If you do your foundation first, you want to scrape up some foundation. So the next thing that I do is, after I do that, is I go in with my brow gel. You can use a tinted brow gel if you want. Sometimes I do that if I feel like I want the back to be a little bit darker, but most of the time I only use a tinted brow when I'm doing like a no pomade thing. And what I like to do is flick my brows up a little bit. So I go in with the gel, whichever one, tinted, clear, and wipe the tip off, because if you like swipe it with too much, it'll like wipe the brow product off. So the front, I just kind of like fluff up like that, and a little bit of that, and that also gives it more of a natural look. You don't want your brows to be like laid down and then the front has like fake hairs, because you can see the difference in the brows and the fake hairs. Also, I like to move it around so I can get the gel like throughout the hairs, and it's not just on the top layer of it. So that's basically all that I do when it comes to my brows using the ABH pomade. I do prefer what I've been doing lately, which is more of a natural, fluffy, just slightly fill-in brow. So if you want to see how I do my current one instead of just like how to use pomade, go ahead and comment below and just let me know, and I will get a more like how I actually do my brows. Now this is how I did my brows for a long time, like for many years. This is how I did it. I used this. So I know it's all over TikTok. We're using it wrong. I found out we are using it wrong, but it's okay. You used it however you want, however you feel comfortable. But I do like the way that I'm doing my brows lately a little bit better, unless I'm doing a full glam. So I kind of just go in and fill and whatever needs to be done. But if you guys want to see that, like I said, just comment it below. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hop off camera. I'm going to conceal my brows. So that's the last thing that I do, is I do concealer just to basically clean it up and make them look nice. I do not do concealer on the top. It's too heavy. It's too much going on up there. You're going to make your face look cakey. So I'm going to hop off camera, put on my makeup, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so that is how I use the ABH Dipbrow to get a more natural look on my brows. I don't just use the pomade. I feel like it does give it a very fake, very drawn on look. Too bold for my liking, and like I said, I kind of strayed away from doing my brows like this, but I know you guys wanted to know how to do it to get it more natural, but this is about as natural as I'm getting with it. If you guys want to see how I got this makeup look, then go ahead to this video. I posted it yesterday, and it is a classic Christmas look. I hope this helped you guys out, and I'm hoping that you can kind of get your brows to look a little bit more natural with the Dipbrow. And as always guys, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, and I will see you on the next one.